Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hell Nah Hangout. We're so sorry for the week-long hiatus. Technology sucks, basically. So
It does.
the real episode 5 will probably never see the light of day, even though it was a really good episode. But this is the new and improved episode 5. Today I only have 2 people with me, but they're good guests nonetheless. Of course, I got the regular J Pro here. And I also have Justin or Dream Tacos with me. And now we got some. Yeah, we ain't got the bootleg stuff no more. He upgraded. He upgraded. So we're gonna start off talking about the XXL Cyphers. So we talked about the list a couple episodes ago. I think like episode 2 or so. And we sort of gave our opinions on like who made the list, and we all pretty much agreed that it was a pretty good representation of where rap is right now. And I think the Cyphers so far have surprised a lot of people. I think a lot of people didn't expect the Cyphers to be like this good, and they've like, besides 2 people, I've enjoyed pretty much all of them so far.
Agreed.
So Jay, I know you said earlier, but who do you think? Tell the people who you think had the best one so far.
It's so tough, right? YBN Corday was really good. The Baby was really good. I think the Baby's was the best though. I think he had the best bars, but YBN Corday's was really nice as well. It was very smooth. Yeah. I think I'm gonna give it to the Baby.
I still give it to Corday just only because I found out that apparently the Babies came from a snippet that he's already released on Instagram. It's like that, yeah, like that. He was like a full snippet you can find on his Instagram with like that same verse. So I was like, like you killed it right there. Like if he would have, what he should have done is like let us hear the cipher and then release the snippet afterwards. Be like, oh, he put a cipher on another beat and he's gonna turn it into a song. So that's cool.
Yeah, but a lot of people do that too.
Yeah, 100%. Like hardly anybody's cipher is just like off the top. Yeah, but it's hard to do that. And you only get one shot at it. So if you go out there and try to go off the top and you just embarrass yourself, then like there goes your XXL. Like,
you know,
career.
That dude off of when he was on Sway, he was
like, that was O'Malley. Talking about O'Malley, yeah.
That's tough.
Have you seen that, Jeffrey? You seen that video?
Oh yes.
Oh my god.
Oh yes. I have seen this video.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Trying to go off the dome.
I mean, it's tough, right? Like,
yeah, it's definitely hard.
How many of us have heard a beat, right? And we're just trying to think of something off the head just for fun, and you just can't, right?
Yeah,
and when you do, it's just really bad and like cheesy.
Yeah.
The ability of some of these rappers just like off the dome do this is incredible.
And even like written, like some people don't write their stuff like well ahead of time, and even still like thinking of a written to go on a random beat that you haven't heard before and to be able to make it fit that beat, that's tough still. So
exactly,
like, I still give props to him.
But all your lyrics not gonna fit every beat. You don't know what beat they're gonna play you.
Exactly. And then like like the only 2 that I could not stand, bro, YK Osiris and then Lil Mosey, bruh.
Okay. I agree with that.
Dude.
So based off the snippet and the teaser they gave us, I thought Lil Mosey's was actually gonna be really good, but then it just didn't really go anywhere, and I was really upset because he basically just said like the same thing over and over for like 3 bars, and I was just like, and like say something more than that.
It's sad because I actually really enjoy like Mosey's music. Like I really enjoy his music, but it's just I guess I don't think the beat fit him. Like how the Baby and Megan Thee Stallion like got on the beat and it sounded like it was made for them. But then it's like he came on the beat and it was just like, bro, like this ain't it at all.
I mean, he even makes the comment when he's freestyling about like how lame the beat is, right? And I don't know if he's just saying that, but at the same time, it just didn't feel like it really fit the way that he likes to rap. Like I'm definitely a big fan of his other music, but the cypher just didn't do much for him.
Yeah, I mean like. I don't know. I think it was just a really bad showing out of him. Like based on that, if you've never, I think one of the reasons the ciphers are so important is because for some people that's their first introduction into you rapping. So like if people hear Lil Mosey just based on that cipher, they're gonna be like, oh no way I'm listening to this kid. But he actually makes like good music, and like it's a shame that he had such a bad showing. and now people aren't really gonna give his music a chance. Because like I said, I actually really enjoy it. I think his music's really good. But I think Rico Nasty, a lot of people didn't talk about her much, but Rico Nasty killed hers too.
That was a nice verse.
Yeah, so did Megan. Blueface surprised me. For number one, he rapped on beat. He rapped on beat. I did not expect him to rap on beat. And then two, he actually had some decent metaphors. And
he was very, very witty.
Yeah, the Kim Possible Rufus line is probably like the highlight of my cipher so far. But
exactly.
When I first heard that, I had to rewind it like 3 times because I was laughing so hard. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, it's either that line or when DaBaby was talking about sending people to get a picture with Tupac.
Yeah. DaBaby just I've grown to like him more and more. The first time I heard DaBaby, I was actually on YouTube and he was in my recommendeds, and like I didn't really want to I didn't like his stuff. Like I think I heard Suge for the first time I watched the music video and I was like, I don't like this. And sometimes you listen to something and it's sort of just like passive, like you're not really listening, and then like you come back later and you're like, hold on, this is actually kind of hard. And so like I went back 100%. And I listened to Suge about a couple months later or so, and then I was like, okay, this is something right here. And then I started listening to some of his freestyles. Then I heard his verse on the Revenge of the Dreamers album, on the intro song, and he ran that, and I was like, okay, this dude actually can rap, like, okay. And then he just jumps on the cipher. Not only was his cipher good, but like the length of his cipher compared to his peers, like he just made them look so bad. Like you could see YK Osiris in the back staring at him, and he was just like, I just got destroyed. Like his face was like set at all.
Yeah, the fact his part of the cipher went on for like 2.5 minutes, and everybody else is like 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds if they're lucky. Like I'm not saying like Megan Thee Stallion is really good, you know. Even though you disagree, I thought YK Osiris's wasn't bad, and then Moses was. It was
It was a bucket of.
DaBaby definitely killed it. It wasn't close in my opinion for the first part of the cipher.
And I think his presence was just so like you could tell he's so confident in his rapping ability. Hey, just to turn your vibration on, we can hear it, Bruno.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't even hear it.
Oh my god.
I can't even hear it.
But nah, his stage presence is really good too. Like everything, like I love rappers where like everything you say, I can believe it. And I feel like everything DaBaby says, like I actually believe it. It also can contribute to go towards the fact that he's actually like whooped somebody's ass recently. I don't know if you saw that, J-Pro, but like somebody tried to run up on him.
I did.
Dude, he beat that dude so bad, he got stripped down to his underwear. You know how hard you gotta get hit for somebody to knock your pants off?
SpongeBob episode.
Oh my god, dude. You can't. There is no like bouncing back from that, bro. Like you got hit so hard that your pants came off.
That's wild.
But keep in mind, we're recording this episode the night that the second cipher released, so we haven't seen a third one yet. But the third one is gonna be Tierra Whack. Dang, who the other ones? Tierra Whack.
Roddy Ricch.
Oh, I'm excited for Roddy Ricch. Yeah, Tierra Whack, Roddy Ricch, and
I'll go look at the playlist.
Dang, bro, I feel like I'm snubbing somebody.
Same, which is why I'm trying to look.
I'm really excited for Roddy Ricch. Roddy Ricch is
Comethazine.
Oh, how can I get forget Comethazine? I think that's the last one because there's 10 people and they have 4 on the first cipher, so the next 2 should have just been 3 people.
So who is it? Comethazine, Roddy Ricch, and Gunna? Is it?
No, Gunna. Remember, Gunna is whack. Well, we can talk about that. I hate when rappers jump on a XXL like list and literally don't do anything. Like so if you've been keeping up with the list, you know that they get the artist on there. And they make them record an interview. They record like this thing called ABCs where they go down like the alphabet and say like the first word that comes to mind for each letter. And then they do their freestyle. That's what they were doing at first before the ciphers came out. And they would do another person every day. This dude Gunna literally did a 1-minute interview, didn't do a freestyle, didn't do a cipher, didn't even do the ABCs. And it's just like, there's so many other rappers that I guarantee you would have jumped on this list and taken advantage of that opportunity, and it's like you just took it away from them. just to do a 1 minute interview, bro, and a photo shoot. Like, come on, dude. Like,
let me ask you this question: If you could replace Gunna with one rapper that didn't make the list, who would you replace him with?
I
feel like you're gonna say like Lil TJ or something like that.
Oh, Polo G. I'll probably take Polo G over Lil TJ.
Polo?
Yeah, I have Polo G.
I give Lil TJ like another year. I would have.
Yeah. I would definitely give Polo G the list. I think Polo G 100% makes the list next year. Him and Lil TJ. I think they'll put them on there together and get them their own cipher even. But honestly though, like there's this rapper that a lot of people don't know about. He's a little older. He's not really a freshman, but he was eligible to be a freshman. Like he did the XXL pitch to be a freshman, and his name is Benny the Butcher. When I tell you this dude can rap his ass off, and he raps about like really street, like dark shit, and it's like he's one of those rappers where he'll rap about that kind of stuff, but he doesn't glorify it. He told you like it happened. He told you like he was in it, and he told you like how to get out of it and why you shouldn't get in it. But at the same time, it's like real gritty and dark and violent. It reminds me of like a more sophisticated TK, like almost. And he has bars, he said something one time where it was like, he finished a rhyme with Indu, and he was like, put a beam on his head, turn a hater to a Hindu or something like that. And I was like, bro, oh my god, like, bro. Yeah, Benny. I probably would put Benny the Butcher on there if I was personally doing it, but if I had to be realistic, then yeah, I think Polo G probably was next in line for. I don't know. Gunna just made me mad with that. I don't know why. Like Tierra Whack didn't do a freestyle either, but at least I know Tierra Whack uploads freestyles to Instagram and stuff all the time. Like I know Tierra Whack can freestyle, whereas Gunna is like. You put literally no effort into this at all. Like you went to the photo shoot and did the shortest interview out of everybody, and that's all you gave us, like for the cover. And I feel like I don't know, me personally, I just think that's selfish. Like I didn't like that at all.
He ain't doing nothing but hurting himself.
Yeah, I mean I like Gunna's music, but it's just like he lost like respect points for me on that one because I wasn't rocking with that at all. To be honest with you. Who do you think's gonna have the best one tomorrow? Out of the three people,
probably Roddy Rich.
See, I want to say Roddy, but at the same time, you know, Roddy's like really melodic, and a lot of times, a lot of people don't do well on ciphers.
I think he's gonna kill it.
I think it really depends on the beat they pick for Roddy. If it's like a beat that he can get melodic on and like still have sort of like bars, I think he'll be fine. But if it's just like a boom bap, like show us like how you can rap type beat.
I love boom bap beats.
Yeah, it ain't gonna
I feel like they intentionally pick beats that they think the rappers can thrive on, though.
Yeah,
like I don't think they would just throw somebody to the wolves and give them a really bad beat, and then they'd have a bad verse.
Well, see, right? In the past they have though, and they haven't really necessarily picked beats that cater to like the rappers. And I think this is matter of fact, I know this is the first year. The one today, I don't know if you noticed, they switched the beat up for Corday. Because remember, Rico jumped on that first beat, and then they went to Corday, and they switched it up. That's the first time that's ever happened. So the DJ this year, his name is DJ Scheme, did a really good job. He switched the beat up for Corday, and I felt like I think Corday can kill any beat, but I think that beat that he picked for him fit him perfectly. Like I think that was definitely a better choice for him than that first beat was. And like I said, not that I don't think he could have killed that one, but it's just like when I heard that beat, I was like, okay, this is the type of beat that like I want to hear YB and Corday like rap on. I know, I just thought it was really good. I think Tierra Whack's gonna have the best verse tomorrow though. I think Tierra Whack. I don't think she didn't. Like I said, she didn't do a freestyle, so this is like her one chance to show people like, hey, like I can rap. And so like I think she's definitely gonna like take advantage of it. Like I said, I think Roddy's is gonna be good depending on the beat, but I think regardless of how the beat sounds, I wouldn't even. As a matter of fact, I think in the trailer, wasn't Tierra Whack going acapella?
Yes.
Yeah. See, some people opt to do that, and that's usually like when people do that, they usually want you to listen to the words that they're saying. So I'm assuming she's about to throw some really hard bars in there. So like I'm excited for Tierra Whack. I think it's gonna be really good.
She got some good little bars.
Yeah, Comethazine is. I love Comethazine music, but I don't see him having.
I don't see that happening.
I don't see him having a good cipher. I'm sorry. and not that I don't think he's just like the worst rapper, but like I just some rappers just aren't built for ciphers, like or ciphers or freestyles, like none of that. Even some people even try to spit writtens, and it doesn't sound good. Like some people just aren't built for that. I don't think. But overall, like I said, I'm very very surprised at how much I thought I knew this was gonna be a really good list, but I didn't expect like everybody to come this hard with the ciphers.
The freestyles were really good this year.
Yeah, freestyle's really good too. Yeah, besides Gunna, I think most of these people have like really appreciated their spot, and I think they're like taking advantage of it to the best of their ability.
Because at the end of the day, for some of these rappers, right, like going into this, I really didn't know who like Comethazine was or like Roddy Ricch was, but like after listening to playlist, like actually pretty good. And I've started adding them to some of my playlists. It's just free publicity for a lot of these rappers, and
right, yeah,
getting that free opportunity to get their name out there. They need to take advantage of it.
Yeah,
some of them, you know, Gunna, I can understand because he had like a really big song earlier this year. But
yeah, that's my only thing is like I felt like Gunna at this point didn't even need it. Like I feel like Gunna is already like any big major project this year, big rap project, like most of them have had Gunna on it at least as a feature. Like Gunna is in like the upper echelon of like rappers at this point. To where like he's headlining festivals, like selling out shows overseas and stuff. Like I just don't feel like Gunna really needed it. So I guess that's my only defense that I could give him as to why like he probably wouldn't do the freestyles. But like I said, I just still don't agree with like taking somebody's spot like that and just being like, all right, I'm not gonna freestyle, I'm not gonna cipher either.
Yeah.
Imagine tomorrow they just didn't show me the trailer. He shows up out of nowhere and jumps on the cipher.
That'd be funny.
That'd actually be lit. But I don't. No chance he did a cipher, dude. No chance at all. So, moving on to the next topic. What was it? What was this press conference? Was it Saturday?
It was Saturday, San Diego Comic-Con, Hall H.
Yeah, and they Marvel. Wait, what?
I had a buddy who was actually there live watching it.
Oh, that was
he was sending me texts every time something was updated. Like, oh my goodness, you know, Loki was announced, WandaVision was announced. So we'll get to that in a second. But
I already know what the best movie gonna be.
But they long awaited, especially after Far From Home release. After that, everybody was sort of looking towards like what would be the next chapter in the MCU. We had Disney Plus getting ready to be released, so we knew we were gonna have some shows too.
Them folks got so much money.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do.
Well, so I mean, most that's due to Disney being essentially like an entertainment monopoly because they have the Disney.
They are.
Well, yeah, but then they just bought 21st Century Fox and they get so much more, right?
Yeah.
Like Disney owns the franchise rights to the two largest grossing films of all time in Avengers Endgame and Avatar, right? And with Avatar 2 coming out at some point, Disney's about to make a lot of moolah. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Disney been making moolah. They own ABC, ESPN.
And the one thing that's like really good about Disney though is I don't think Disney's made like a really like bad movie, right?
Oh, no.
They buy these franchises and they just haven't missed.
Wait, who made the Emoji Movie?
That was not Disney.
Oh, okay.
I
thought that was a Pixar.
I think it was Sony.
Yeah, Sony.
Disney do a really good job too. Also, like staying like they.
It was made by Sony.
Oh, okay.
They don't put their hand so deep into everything, like so they don't. When they buy something, they don't change it like real drastically, like most companies could do.
Yeah.
So they do a really good job at staying in their place. I mean, letting people do what they do.
That's one of the things I've heard a lot about Disney, like especially with Marvel, is they kind of gave Kevin Feige, you know, the head of Marvel Studios, like just free reign over where he wanted to take the franchise and like what he wants to do with all of it. Because they realized that after like Iron Man and like that the first phase capped off with Avengers, that like holy crap, people are really digging this. Let's just give them the creative control because there's no reason for, Disney executives who aren't really like that involved in the day-to-day stuff to try to get involved with it. And so we've just gotten blessed with 10 years.
Don't fix it.
What J-Pro, take us down the movie list, like the movies they announced.
So they announced 5 movies. The first one coming out next May is going to be the Black Widow movie, and this movie is apparently set following Civil War. So before spoiler alert, before Natasha Romanoff dies in Endgame.
Okay.
That's
interesting. I thought that was gonna be like a prequel to her story, like as a whole.
I thought it was gonna be like an origin story too.
Yeah.
It's not.
So it is surprising.
And then
after Civil War.
Yeah, it's going to be set after Civil War. Apparently, there's going to be like a Budapest scene because there's that reference to Budapest in the Avengers between her and Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So apparently, we're going to see that. Then the next movie coming out in November of 2020 is going to be The Eternals. If you don't know who the Eternals are, they're essentially just like a celestial group. Yeah, that's basically it. They just have like superpowers. Like we saw them earlier in the MCU in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie using one of the Infinity Stones for their own abilities. But then the next movie is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I'm actually really excited for that.
That's gonna be so good. Bro.
Yeah, I think like I think the only way they could have ruined that movie, and like I knew Disney wasn't gonna do it because Disney's a pretty like progressive and then like socially aware company. If they would have casted a white dude as Shang-Chi, bro, I actually would have lost full. I promise you, I would have lost full, bro.
Oh yeah, the actor they got is like really, really good.
Wasn't he in Crazy Rich Asians? Isn't it that dude?
I can't remember, to be honest.
I don't think it's him. I don't think that's him.
He looks kind of like dude.
Wow.
The actor
don't do that.
Playing...
Wow, Sergio.
Yeah, Simu Lee. He was not in that movie.
No,
what has he played in other than this?
This is his first like big film. He's been in TV shows before, but like the only other movie he's in was Pacific Rim, and that was as an extra. This is his first. This is like his first big role.
But apparently, I was looking at his Twitter. He like hit Disney up, and like or Marvel, and told them that he wanted to do Shang-Chi. Same thing with well, you can keep going with the movies.
The guy for Blade.
Yeah.
And then the next movie following Shang-Chi is in May of 2021, and that's going to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Apparently, Wanda Maximoff is going to be in that movie. Nightmare is going to be the villain. I'm super excited for it. I really like the first one. I think the special effects in the Doctor Strange movies are some of the best.
Yeah.
Like almost as good as like the Far From Home special effects. Like I thought the end of like the Far From Home special effects.
I think they're better. I think they're better, bro. Some of the stuff when they were like twisting the buildings and stuff, bro. It was so trippy.
Sick.
Yeah, it was trippy. I was like, yeah, this is it right here.
I can't wait to have a seizure at that movie.
And then the fifth and final movie of Phase 4 is in November 2021. Thor: Love and Thunder. And the fourth Thor movie.
I didn't know there was actually like a comic, and this one's gonna have Natalie Portman in it, and she's gonna actually be Thor, which caught me off guard at first. But then, I did some research, and there's actually a female Thor in the comics, and I didn't know that.
It's based off the comic line Mighty Thor, where Thor, as we know him, isn't the Thor anymore. Jane Foster, Natalie Portman's character, apparently becomes the new Thor. I'm really excited though. They got Wakai back to direct. He directed Ragnarok as well, and I think Ragnarok is a top 3 Marvel movie in my opinion. That movie was hilarious. It was hilarious. It had great acting. It had a great plot. I'm sorry, Sergio, but it was so good. Either way,
it was good. But top 3,
either top 5.
Maybe top 5. Yeah, maybe top 5, bro.
Those are the 5 movies of Phase 4: Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Thor: Love and Thunder.
I think Shang-Chi is gonna have the best
opening.
Lighting.
Oh, I thought you meant like the top grossing in terms of like the numbers.
Honestly,
no.
Okay, let me ask you this: do you think the Asian American community is gonna show out for Shang-Chi, like black people different Black Panther?
Dude. So this is how I know they're gonna show out because just for Aquaman, they just had an Asian director. Like he wasn't even the lead. He wasn't the lead as an actor, and they grossed that movie so much over there in China.
But I'm talking in the States. But how we black people came to Black Panther in full African dress and headwear, bro. You think they coming out like that?
I guess it really depends. I don't know who's directing Shang-Chi. I think one of the things Black Panther had going for it was how many white people were in Black Panther? 2? like Ulysses Klon and the CIA agent.
Yeah,
I think those are the only two white people in that movie. Plus, it was directed by the incredible Ryan Coogler.
He is such an amazing dude.
That was Black Panther is a really good movie.
Yeah,
but I think Shang-Chi will definitely do well. I think a lot of diehard comic fans are going to be excited about it as well.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get the Mandarin, somebody who they kind of hinted at earlier with like the fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3.
Yeah, thank God they are listening to the fans and giving us the real Mandarin. That's a power move.
I think it's like a really funny setup for it actually, because like, oh, there's this fake Mandarin years ago, and then there's like this real dude who's got the rings, and it's like, oh my goodness, know.
Yeah. The director hasn't done anything.
So what? Do we know who the actor is going to be for the Mandarin?
I don't know if they've actually announced who is going to be playing the Mandarin.
And when does that movie come out? 2021?
February 12th, 2021.
God, that's a long way away.
So, Shang-Chi is being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who is Asian American.
I think he's Filipino. Well, no, he was born in Hawaii. I don't know who he is.
Gotcha. But yeah, either way, I think Shang-Chi will actually be a really good movie just based on the way it's looking like right now.
What do you think could be the worst movie out of the one?
Out of these,
they did cast the Mandarin, by the way.
Who do I think could be what do I think could be the worst movie out of this? Honestly, I could see Black Widow not doing that well, and I think that's for one reason and one reason only. It's for those comments that Scarlett Johansson made a couple of weeks ago about how she should be allowed to play
whoever she wants,
anybody she wants to, regardless of race, gender, etc., etc. I think that movie has like propensity to do the worst, because those comments are recent and that's the first movie on the docket.
Like, I didn't take that. I don't know.
I don't think those comments are necessarily going to ruin it, but I do think like I do think Black Widow just isn't a character that people really enjoy. Like, honestly, out of all the people in the Avengers, I feel like Black Widow isn't a beloved enough character to get like a solo movie.
So
I like her more than a lot of the Avengers.
I think she's like a really good character, actually, and I'll still go see the movie regardless, just because of how much I like Marvel. I think it'll do fine. I don't think it'll be like record breaking, but I can see it doing comparable numbers to like the Ant-Man movies as well. That's just my opinion, though. I think Black Widow has good. Now let me ask you this question: which of these movies do you think has the propensity to do the best?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
If the community shows, if his community, they have an Asian director or Asian descent. I'm pretty sure he's Asian. Well, he's from
Asian descent. His father was Japanese American.
Okay, yeah. So you got an Asian director. You have really gonna have like almost all Asian crew, just like Crazy Rich Asians. So you're doing it again, but then now you put this into a Marvel action movie. I think that the possibility for this movie.
And you know what? I think if they like market it differently than other like Marvel movies too, and have the trailer be like some like straight up like kung fu type stuff, I think like that a lot. It's been so long. I feel like kung fu movies have sort of like died out and become like a dying art in like the North American like region. Like back in the day, they used to have so many. I guess it's Bruce Lee died. Bruce Lee was like the king of that stuff. But, like, I feel like that's such like a lost art. I think the last one we had was like the Man of the Iron Fist. I don't know if y'all ever saw that movie, but it was like directed by the RZA or whatever. I thought it was just like the last one we had. I feel like they don't have to go full blown that route with it, but I think if they as long as they market it as like this movie it belongs to Marvel, but it's different from other Marvel movies. This is why you should go see it. And I think it'll do really well. And of course, the all Asian cast is gonna help it.
I like that. I like now we're getting in the time where we are starting to see a lot more minorities in star and action roles. And
I saw something where it was like this is like the most like diverse lineup of movies like out of any franchise, because there's a woman I think in the Eternals, she's deaf, right?
Maybe, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think they confirmed Valkyrie's gonna be lesbian.
Yes, that is confirmed.
Lesbian,
yeah, she made a comment, or Tessa Thompson, the actress that plays Valkyrie, said that she was king and is looking for her queen.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like confirmed, but like the
Mhm.
way that was set, we assume as much.
So is she gonna be in Love and Thunder?
Yes, that's already been confirmed that she's going to be in it. Chris Hemsworth is going to be in it, and of course, Natalie Portman's Jane Foster will also be in it.
I'm interested in like the plot of that movie because right now it's just confusing.
So, honestly, in my opinion, about all the movies in the lineup, you guys think Shang-Chi like has the best propensity? Honestly, I think Thor: Love and Thunder will probably take the cake, mostly because I feel like Thor just has this like renewal sense. We saw him, in Ragnarok, which was a really good movie, and then Infinity War to Endgame, we saw this like really weird like redemption arc, and then he went back down to the pits, and then another redemption arc, and now we're kind of seeing him come out of the redemption arc into his own. So
to me,
I'm excited.
I think to me that's my like flip of the coin. I don't I can see that movie doing either really good or just not good at all. Like it's my flip of the coin because of the attachment people have to Thor already as that, and the role that he's going to be playing in a new movie, and then who's like really going to be the main star. So I can see it not going the way people expect.
Yeah, a lot like when it comes to superheroes, like I think a lot of people go into superhero movies with female leads like skeptical. Like I see so many people like waiting to hate on like superhero movies with female leads. Like people went into Captain Marvel waiting to hate on Captain Marvel. Same thing with Wonder Woman. Like they were both good movies, and like people like reach for stuff to hate on them for. I feel like Natalie Portman has a big task ahead of her, but I think she'll be fine. And I think like having Thor in it with her still, I think will help sort of bring in that audience that like is looking to hate on it. I think that's a good move by them to still.
It was critical to have him there.
Yeah,
and I also think Natalie Portman just has enough experience in like sci-fi type roles, like Padme Amidala from
she's a good actress.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
But
did you talk about the Blade announcement?
I didn't talk about anything post Phase 4. I just mentioned those movies. So Phase 5 is rumored to have Blade, which was the last thing announced. But Kevin Feige also hinted that Captain Marvel 2 is coming, Black Panther 2 is coming, Fantastic Four is in the works, things with mutants. Unconfirmed that he didn't say this one, but this one's like pretty much confirmed based on the contracts we know. A third Spider-Man movie is coming at some point. There's a lot of projects in the work.
They gonna bring Spider-Man ass out. Like he gonna keep getting movies until they can't no more.
I think until people get tired of Tom Holland.
No, but the problem is though Tom Holland plays such a good Spider-Man that like I could see another 5 movies of him and I wouldn't get tired of him because he just brings so much life to the character. And what's really nice about it is we're kind of seeing him grow up with the movies as well. It's like even though he's like I think he's early 20s, but like there's still a lot of like growth in his life as well as in like the movies. And so there's just kind of like this journey together. And I think that's like the really refreshing part. Because Tobey Maguire's, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad trilogy, but he already felt like old in those movies and kind of just too grown up for me.
Well, he was already grown, like basically.
Exactly.
Even when he was in high school, he looked grown.
Yeah. Tom Holland still feels like the teenager that Spider-Man is in the comics, and that's what I think is really appealing to a lot of people. Like,
yeah, he has a really young face.
Exactly. How much depth it feels like he brings to the character compared to a lot of the other actors, but
I think hands down he is the best live action Spider-Man. I think he portrays the best version.
100%.
For sure.
I think when it comes down to Tom Holland and his movies, I think people are gonna enjoy him like forever. I think the make or break for his movies are always gonna be the villains. Like if they have good villains, I think his movies are gonna continue to do well.
I think he is the 2 best Spider-Man villains so far.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see because he's starting to branch out and do a lot more other things. I know he got like a lot of animation work and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see his work outside of this universe.
Bro, he's literally in a movie like with what's the actor's name that plays Doctor Strange?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Bro, he's literally like Benedict Cumberbatch plays Thomas Edison in an upcoming movie about Thomas Edison and like electricity, and Tom Holland was in that too. And I was like, this dude is literally in every single trailer.
He's in a movie with Will Smith.
Really? Dude,
Yeah, like
this dude,
animation, like a spy movie or something like that.
golly, dude, you talking about somebody that's cashing out right now? My
Oh yeah,
God.
But I think it's deservedly so.
Oh,
That
yeah.
has every performance I've seen him in on the silver screen. He hasn't missed yet.
His Infinity War performance, that one scene, this scene was so good.
That one scene's like $50 million in his pocket, just how good it was.
Bro, and it was all. I mean, apparently he was reading off script when they did the scene.
I mean, he won me over literally in Civil War. Like with his little short appearance in Civil War, he won me over.
Oh yeah.
Like saying like nerdy stuff in the middle of a fight like that, they literally won me over.
Have you seen that really old movie Empire Strikes Back? It's
No.
like it's those types of pop. No, like that's the pop culture line he makes in Civil War when he tries to wrap up Ant-Man.
Is that
it's like those.
The walkie thingies.
Yeah.
Is that a Star Wars movie?
Yeah,
Empire Strikes Back? That's
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 5.
I've literally never seen a single Star Wars movie.
Same.
Actually, no. wait. So I didn't see The Last Jedi, but I saw the one before that. What was that one called? The first one with the black dude in it.
The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I saw The Force Awakens. That was it.
I saw
It's
whichever one that came out recently that had Darth Vader.
But see, the crazy thing about The Force Awakens is like everybody that watches Star Wars watches it religiously and said like they didn't like that one. Like everybody that doesn't watch it, like I thought it was a good movie. I was into it.
The Force Awakens. Or
Yeah,
Last Jedi?
The Force Awakens. I was into it. I was like, yo, this is dope. But
I liked The Force Awakens. I didn't like The Last Jedi. That movie was wild.
I didn't see it. I haven't seen The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
that's just like I haven't seen a Harry Potter movie.
Same.
I can't do that.
I tried to watch the first Harry Potter 3 different times. I promise you, I've fallen asleep every single time on that movie, bro. It's just not meant to be.
Soon as they get on the train, I'm knocked out.
It is not meant to be, bro. That movie is chalk. I can't do it. But yeah, I think Blade when that got announced, low key caught me off guard. Like when he put the hat on, bro.
I didn't think they were gonna retouch it like ever.
I and that's the thing. It wasn't even like a Marvel like movie. Who did Blade the first time?
Wesley Snipes.
No, I know that, but like what company was over Blade?
Who did it?
21st Century Fox.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. That makes more sense.
They had the rights to the movie.
Yeah. Right. That makes more sense then. But I didn't think they would introduce him into the MCU though. I guess. Like
what's really interesting.
No.
What's really interesting about Blade, like the new Blade, is the actor whose name is currently escaping me. I'm sorry. He approached Disney about making the movie, and they're like, sure, we'll do it. Like apparently it wasn't in the cards for them to make the film, but he approached them, and he had just won an Oscar, I believe, recently. So like, there's a little bit of clout there, and 2 and 2 together plus the House of Mouse equals a lot of money and a lot of happy fans.
Yeah, I think that this is one kind of like when Deadpool first was getting announced. You're like, all right, Deadpool has to be rated R, or it's chalked. I think this is another one that has to be rated R for sure.
Well, I think Marvel's moving in a very different direction than we expect them. Exactly. So one of the things that the director of the new Doctor Strange movie said, he said that this is going to be Marvel's first like horror movie. That it's going to be like a really scary movie, and it's not going to be like a traditional superhero film.
Wait, Blade is?
No, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is going to be a scary movie.
Really?
Yeah. That's what the director said.
Who is Nightmare? I don't know who Nightmare is.
I can't exactly remember Nightmare's history. It's been a hot minute since I remembered him. Okay, so he's the evil ruler of the dream dimension, which tormented humans are brought to during their sleep.
Okay,
that's who he is.
Yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah, he's literally terrifying. Like I remember reading comics about it as a kid and being like, "Yeah, this is kind of creepy."
It's gonna be a DC movie.
So dark. Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, I think the special effects in that one are gonna be really good. Then if they're like adding horror aspects to it.
I feel like if they throw them like enough money behind that movie to give them the special effects they want to do, that movie might be the best CGI film of all time, just because of like what they can do.
Doctor Strange, you can't not throw money at that movie.
Yeah.
Especially with an A-list actor like Benedict Cumberbatch,
and like, it's not like they don't have money to throw at it at this point. Like,
100%.
Anything in the MCU can afford to have money thrown at it.
Listen to the stat: Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion. Since then, I believe Marvel has made Disney $18 billion. That's a pretty good return on investment, if I had to say.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
just rolling in his grave.
Yeah. So, what do y'all think of the TV shows that they announced for Disney Plus? Any of them really catching your eye?
I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is like the one that I'm really. You're not what?
I don't like the Falcon. I like the Winter Soldier. I don't like the Falcon.
Why not, bro? What about Falcon?
Bro, he's literally the most pointless superhero ever in the world.
Nah, he was really beneficial in Winter Soldier. Like people sleep on how like important he was in Winter Soldier.
You shoot his backpack, he can't do nothing for the rest.
Oh my!
You shoot his backpack, he's still an elite military soldier. Like,
yep.
Like let's not forget this.
On foot,
but I think in the sky. Falcon provided some like really good comic relief in the movies he's in, but also in like Winter Soldier, he played he played like a modern Captain America without being Captain America. Like he wasn't trying to adjust to modern life. He was just, ex-soldier who's just trying to adjust back to his civilian life.
Yeah.
While Captain America, almost the same thing, but just a little bit of a different situation. They kind of played off each other like that.
I love the actor though. Don't get me wrong, I love it.
And I think
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, I love it.
I think one of the reason I'm saying that show in particular is because this is going to be our first chance to see Falcon with the shield, like that Captain America gave him. And I think that's why like I'm curious to see like how he evolves as a character, like given that opportunity.
He gonna keep that alive for the whole time.
Hope not.
See, for me, the TV show that stands out the most is going to be What If. So I don't know how much you guys know about. So What If was a comic line. What if XYZ happened, right? What's going to be really interesting about it is DC essentially has a stronghold on like animated superheroes. What If is going to be animated. They're going to be bringing in some of the actors to reprise their voices in the show, but at the end, What If stands out the most to me because we get to see like alternate futures, alternate things that could have happened just a little bit differently in an animated format, and I think it's like a good opportunity for Marvel to like put up or shut up in the animated film world because right now DC just runs it. Like DC's animated movies are like really good.
Yeah, miles ahead to be honest.
So I guess What If is the one that stands out the most to me because I think Falcon and Winter Soldier will be a really fun watch regardless. I think WandaVision will be cool. I think Loki will be super sick, and I think Hawkeye will be sick. But What If is like the one out of those four that we don't know that much about other than we know the premise of it. We don't really know what's exactly is going to be happening because like I don't know if What If is going to be one episode is going to be it's each individual like what if scenario, or if there's going to be like mini arcs of like 3 episodes. Like not much has really been announced about it, so that's why I'm excited.
I think like I'll tell you which one I'm not watching that I can just skip over. WandaVision? I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that, bro. Like, that is actually tough. I think it's just because like they made Vision look so weak in Infinity War that it's just like I don't even care to like watch a show about Vision at this point.
I don't like the name off of it.
WandaVision? Yeah. It's not some like Fairly Odd Parents stuff, bro. I don't like that. But that's definitely one that I think I'm gonna skip. But everything else, I think I'll give it. How much is Disney Plus gonna be?
$7 a month.
Oh, that's a steal.
It is so cheap.
Yeah, that's a steal.
Like, I was looking through the content list for what they're gonna be having. A bunch of exclusive content. They have the Star Wars, they have the Pixar movies, they've got their own movies. Apparently 5,000 plus hours of like Disney Channel movies and TV shows from back in the day. And then all this new content that they're coming out with, like specifically for it, like for $7 a month. Like I think I pay like $15 for Netflix right now, and I only watch like I watch like one show on Netflix, and that's The Office.
I think that's how much. I think that's how much DC's Warner Brothers app was, like $7 a month. But my friend bought it for the year, so I just used it. I'm buying it next year.
When does it drop? When does Disney Plus come out?
Disney Plus comes out, I believe, this November, if I'm not mistaken.
And are any other shows debuting with the app?
I don't believe. I think the only one. I don't think any of them are, because the first one comes out fall 2020.
Oh, see, I might hold off then. I'll probably hold off until the Marvel shows start coming out, to be honest.
Okay, so it launches November 12th. I'll probably buy it day one, mostly because there's like a huge back catalog of movies that I'll really enjoy and want to watch again. Like all the Disney Channel original movies from back in the day, super fun.
Okay.
Man, that's the whole vibe.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Exactly, man. Get to watch like Smart House again or Luck of the
Yeah.
Irish.
Oh,
Like it. But there's a Star Wars TV show directed by Jon Favreau, the guy that plays Happy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, called The Mandalorian, coming out, I believe, day one.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like all the other Star Wars: The Clone Wars season. I don't know if that comes out when when it drops, but either way, I'm here for it. So I'll buy it day one, and like $7 is so much cheaper, like compared to everything else I pay for right now. So
yeah,
Disney original movies, Minutemen. That show was so.
I forgot about that movie. So why do y'all think DC doesn't like really like? Do we know what upcoming DC movies there are?
So this is the thing with DC. Hi, Justin Lockhart, representative. So, okay, right. A lot of movies have gotten green lights, but it's like a lot of rewriting the script. So like the Flash has gotten it has a green light, but they wait on the script. So like because Ezra Miller wrote a script, but they didn't like his script, so they scrapped that one. So they're giving like the script to another lady. She's rewriting it right now, and then now they're gonna see what happens. But as far as we know, he's playing it. I'm excited. This Joker movie. I mean, I forgot what came out this year, but I think this Joker movie is gonna be like the third best movie this year. I'm super excited.
I am not particularly excited for the Joker movie.
Super excited.
I don't know. DC has really lost interest from me since they got rid of Henry Cavill and got rid of Ben Affleck. Like they're no longer donning Superman.
Wait, he's not Superman anymore?
No, he's gone.
DC is chalk. But DC is chalk,
bro. He's not gone. He has 1 year contract.
No, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that Henry Cavill's gone.
I did not get that news.
Wow, bro. That's chalk. Yes. I guess I'm just waiting on DC to introduce like the rest of the Justice League. Like I need a Martian Manhunter.
That's gonna be a while before you get that. Like that's gonna be a little minute because like honestly, I've never once been a fan of the Zack Snyder era. I feel like every bad movie they put out, it's been under the Zack Snyder influence, and it just sucked terribly bad.
I've told you plenty of times how I feel about like Man of Steel. Like I really like Man of Steel, and I feel like a lot of people didn't.
I think Man of Steel was the only decent one I like from the Zack Snyder era. But Batman vs Superman sucked. Justice League sucked. Yeah, I didn't like neither one of those movies, and everybody went to go see them with high hopes, and it's just like there you go.
I think one thing they suffer from, bro, honestly, is like their villains are terrible, like so bad. Like in Justice League, it was literally like when they got Superman back on their side, I was like, okay, look, the villain's about to get washed now. Like, he's literally no threat at all, and that's what happened.
That's why I didn't like they went with Steppenwolf as a villain, because honestly, I know what they were doing. What they were doing was if that movie was good, the next person they were gonna fight was gonna be Darkseid. Steppenwolf is just like the muscle or one of the
stepping stone.
Yeah, the stepping stones to Darkseid. Now they weren't gonna go that way when they meet Darkseid. I really wanted, because the animated movie's so good. I really wanted Justice League to be just like Justice League War, if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I wanted it to play out. Like I wanted them to meet each other just like that, and I wanted it to play out like that. And it's gonna be really good. But like I said, he had already shot the movie, and then he had left because of unfortunate circumstances that happened with him. So they reshot a whole bunch of stuff and released it, because you can't not release it now because you've already made this. You can't not put it out. And there you go.
I just feel like DC tries to go the dark route far too often, but they don't. Like I said, they don't have the villains to back it up. Like I've never watched a DC movie where I thought like the villain was like an actual threat to the protagonist.
Same. Other than the Christopher Nolan, like the Dark Knight trilogy, like that's the only DC film series I've ever seen where it's like, oh, the villains actually seem genuinely terrifying. You can do harm.
I think this Joker movie is gonna be really good. I'm super excited for it.
I get a weird vibe from it, bro. Like I don't know what to think about this movie right now.
I like him. He's a actor. He's a really serious actor. He plays his roles really, really
I think he's gonna be the best Joker iteration we've seen since the Dark Knight trilogy.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Like I just based on the like the trailers and stuff, it seems like he really, especially like towards, because I like the way they set up the trailer where he like progressively gets crazier and crazier, and you can see that just within the trailer. And like towards the end of the trailer, like he actually seems like he's insane, and I think he did a really good job.
It's gonna be a rated R movie. I think it's
all rated R.
Yeah.
Oh,
the director, everybody was like questioning it. The director was like, "Yeah, I thought everybody just knew already. It's gonna be rated R. You can't not make a Joker rated R movie."
That's a power move. That was a good move by them.
I see. For me, I think DC is plagued by their own greed, and I don't say that lightly. What I'm trying to say is that DC made a bad choice of trying to start their own Justice League franchise at the height of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because essentially, here's how this works, right? Marvel, they run out and they do their thing for 15, 20 years or whatever. Fine, they get a bunch of money, but like once like the Marvel Cinematic Universe comes to like an actual close, that's when DC's opportunity is to like jump in and fill that void. I also understand jumping in now though, because they think superhero fatigue might take over.
Yeah,
but I don't think that'll happen as long as good stories are being told. I think people will go out and watch.
I feel like these last couple movies have been really decent. I like Shazam. Aquaman to me was good. Wonder Woman was good. I think these last couple projects, these solo movies, that's what I said. As long as it right now, like, all that team shit, put all that to the side. They focus on these solo movies and get the solo movies down packed. I think everything else would be fine because they just released. I mean, they're gonna start working on a Blue Beetle. I'm excited for that. I think that's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. As long as they focus on the solo projects, I think they'll be alright.
I'm still praying for like a Justice League, not Justice League. Bro, you don't even have to give me Teen Titans. Give me a Young Justice live action movie. I will literally be content. Like either Teen Titans or Young Justice. Give me a live action movie, and I will literally worship the ground that the DC people like walk on.
The TV show actually lit. I love the TV show.
Bro, I know. I saw the character presentation, bro. Like when you remember when the pictures first started leaking.
No, not the live action. TV
oh, okay. Bro, I was about to say,
dude. With the live action, like a couple. What they think about watching, but like I kid you not, the live action shit is actually really decent.
Bruh, nah, dude.
Give it a chance. You watch it because I saw Starfire. I was like,
yeah, that's what I just about to say. I'm all for putting black women in roles, bro, but that was some nonsense, bro. Ain't no way, dude.
I was like,
yeah, dude.
It's so gritty. I like it a lot, though. It's actually good, and the Doom Patrol is actually really decent.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to Phase 4. I think it'll be really good, and Marvel like doesn't miss, so like no matter what they do, like I'm expecting it to be good. So
100%.
Now we're gonna move on to NACE. NACE is now they're trying to be a governing body within Collegiate Esports now, and they just recently put out like a article talking about like some of the regulations that they want to implement. So J-Pro, if you want to read us some of those regulations that they want to.
Sure. So student eligibility, they have to be enrolled full-time in the institution. There's no academic requirement for incoming participation, and there's no ongoing academic requirement. So like the player doesn't have to maintain a certain GPA is I think what they're trying to get. They have to fill out an intent to compete form. The signing date for high school and non-college perspective is September 1st. The signing date for current college students is February 1st, and participants only have a 5-year eligibility upon signing the letter of intent. So as soon as you sign the letter of intent, your eligibility essentially starts. I don't know if there's a way to get out of it, but the article isn't like super clear.
So staying through, if you like, so like it's like Sergio, when he's staying through to get his master's, he wouldn't be able to like his 5th year would count, but his 2nd would count.
Yeah, my 2nd year wouldn't count because obviously 6th year.
Yes. Okay.
And then you have to have an intent to compete form at all times. You have to have one every year to play. Basically, that's like some of the big stuff. And then there's financial assistance, right? Maximum financial aid / scholarships provided can't exceed the sum of tuition, books, fees, room, and board. And then there's this line: this does not limit funds provided by entities other than the institutions. And then institutions are not restricting providing expenses, incidental intercollegiate competition, so travel, lodging, meals, awards, apparel, that type of stuff.
Wait, you said they will or they won't?
it says the institutions aren't restricted in providing it, so they can pay for it without it being deemed a part of financial assistance.
Okay.
And then they're not restricted in expenses for like student leadership activities, team building, outings, meals, and mission trips. Mm-hmm. So as essentially the three big things: eligibility for 5 years, the letter of intent to compete, and the financial stuff.
Yeah, the only thing that like really just caught my ear is you said like the no regulation on people GPA.
I was gonna say the same thing.
That ain't gonna fly, bro. That is not gonna fly.
But even with that, if you're failing, first of all, if you fail in school, you instantly get put on academic probation.
Right.
As soon as your GPA falls below a certain point. I mean, so I can just see the school kicking you out before you get kicked off the team. I mean, you would just think they would have some type of GPA requirement.
Right, but just like with like varsity athletics, like I think they don't want it to get to that point before they kick you off the team. I think they want to get you off the team so you can focus on your studies before they have to resort to, kicking you out of the university. So that's the only thing I heard that I was just like, that ain't going.
I could talk about this subject for a long time as somebody who is a tournament organizer, a league organizer. So at the bottom line, the reason the NCAA works for traditional sports is because the NCAA runs those leagues, right? The NCAA runs the NCAA men's basketball, women's basketball. They run the track and field component. They run the football, the volleyball, like all these different sports. Like the NCAA is the one controlling them. NACE, the National Association of Collegiate Esports, doesn't run leagues. They are not in charge of any leagues. They're not responsible for any leagues. They don't run any of them. So essentially, they're trying to put like a stamp of approval on these schools without actually having anything to do with the way any of the leagues operate. The NCAA, works because they control the sports. NACE doesn't control those sports. So literally what NACE says doesn't effectively matter. And one of the things in here that I didn't read is that schools that fail to follow the regulations could result in sanctions from NACE. But the problem with that is, who cares if you're sanctioned by NACE? They don't have any say in like the leagues and what they compete in. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what NACE says because their product doesn't actually do anything in terms of like playing in leagues. And that's the thing people care about is like how you play in leagues.
But do we know for sure that like with these regulations, they aren't going to start like actively participating in like running leagues and stuff?
So the best recommendation I've heard so far is that developers are starting to take notice and are actually creating their own boards to run their leagues. For example, ULOL, University League of Legends, Riot has created their own. It's like RSAA, I think. Like I can't exactly remember, but they created their own board to run their esports. TESPA exists for Overwatch. And so like developers are taking steps to like actively lock down their IP and making boards for their collegiate esports. So I don't think NACE I don't think NACE really is able to like jump into that conversation without like the developers like jumping in. And from what I've heard so far, there's a lot of people who are worried about NACE because essentially schools are paying 25 I don't know exactly if this is true, but from what I've heard, apparently it's a $2,500 annual fee for an organization that does nothing to do with leagues. So like it's apparently just like a really hard thing to swallow for some of these up and coming organizations, even some of these more established organizations. Like, why would I pay $2,500 to an organization that doesn't really do anything for me, right? Sure, they provide like some regulations, but you could literally just take all these regulations, implement them at your own school at the school level, and just roll with it, right? The $2,500 doesn't really get you anything at the end. You're paying for a product that doesn't do anything for you, and that's kind of like where my problem comes in.
Yeah,
is NACE is too much trying to be like the NCAA, but since they have no say in what any of the leagues does, it's a moot point.
Well, I think that is a good point, but I think we need to like wait and see like what their next like point of interest is gonna be when it comes to like leagues and stuff. And I think if they're really gonna start hitting home these regulations, like they have to, number one is they have to start providing some incentive for people to join. If they don't start providing incentive, like you said, people are just gonna make their own regulations at their own like esports programs, and then there won't be a need for it. So they definitely going to have to start providing incentives, or like you said, start like running leagues of their own with prize pools.
And don't get me wrong, I think like what NACE is trying to do is a net good for the community.
Yeah.
But I just don't think without them having like any say in how leagues are run that any of it really matters, because at the end of the day, schools don't have to listen to like what NACE says because they don't have any say in, you know, eligibility for leagues, right? So if somebody wanted to play in the CCL and like with the and they didn't follow like NACE standards, doesn't matter. They can still play in the CCL. Because we don't abide by what NACE says. Now, if other leagues like start agreeing to it, then maybe there gets some traction, just maybe. But as of right now, there is no traction, and that's the problem. I do think an organization is going to come out that's like really good at regulating, and they'll find a way to make it work. But in the current state, I don't know if this is it.
Yeah, so they don't stop you from competing in any like outside league, right? If you join NACE, you can still compete in like various Collegiate Esports leagues, correct?
Well, NACE can't stop you from competing in these leagues. I suppose technically they could like sanction you, but at that point it doesn't really matter because they don't have any control of what leagues you play in or not.
Do we know like what schools are involved in it so far?
There's like 130 schools. Like they're on their website, they have a list of all of the schools. But from some conversations I've seen, it looks like there's some institutions who are reconsidering renewing their charter come this fall due to the $2,500 for little to nothing at all in return.
Oh,
yeah, that's a lot to ask of esport or anyway, because most esports orgs don't have that money laying around.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's kind of a lot to ask and turn, especially for somebody that's not gonna want to step in and
exactly.
run a league. Like that's what I would want from them. If they had already came to the table, you know, okay, we got these leagues, this league on board. You joined, you need to follow these and that type of stuff. I think it'd be a different ball game. But just,
yeah.
And then I guess my next question would be like, so one of the things you always talk about with the NCAA, if they ever decided to take over like the esports spectrum, like how we wouldn't be able to like monetize ourselves and monetize our brand. So with NACE, will we still be able to monetize ourselves, or is that?
I would assume so. I haven't seen anything that would say otherwise. I think at least NACE has people who kind of understand esports. I just think that they're like artificially gatekeeping colleges from entering by saying, you know, here's like how college esports are run and the $2,500 fee on top of it. Like I've talked to other people and they think that like an organization is going to come about, but the $2,500 barrier to entry is just so high for some schools who are just getting into esports and like don't have, you know, school support or funding. It's just not worth it to them, and I don't think it's worth it to a lot of people. When what like honestly, let me ask you guys this question: what do you really get in return from NACE? Like you say you're NACE affiliated and that's it?
Yeah, so you don't really get it. You don't get anything but one of the big rules I don't even agree with. So like you don't really get anything in return but promises. That's not gonna cut it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just now starting. You can't make them. I mean, it's business. You can't make a lot of new promises. Like
the system's too fragile to make promises right now. Like either it is or it isn't. I don't want you to say, you know, we're gonna do this and then not fulfill your promise. Like it needs to either be done or not be done. I just didn't know.
I'm with Sergio. If they can get some league behind them and they can essentially run those leagues, I don't want to say take over, but like put their foot in these leagues and put their hand in them and stuff like that, and then it could be a different company.
Even if you just like provide like the prize pool for some of these leagues, like I think that. Or pitch into the prize pool, I think people would gladly like follow your incentives.
That's an incentive, that'd be a huge thing.
I don't even think what the stuff we talked about, like I don't think any of it's too crazy. I think the one thing that I think needs to be addressed is like transferring. Like so here's one thing I didn't really say: students who have signed an intent to compete cannot be recruited by their NACE member institutions, and the student cannot initiate contact with other NACE schools for the purpose of exploring a transfer until after February 1st. So say for example, if like somebody in the fall had signed like a letter to intent and then they didn't really like their school and they wanted to transfer, they couldn't play for their that next school until after February 1st. A lot of leagues are already going at that point. And based on the language, I don't know if that would allow them to play for that year because the ITCs apply for a full year, a full academic year.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, if I like, say for example, like Serge, you transfer to Mississippi State for some unbeknownst reason, and you signed a letter like an intent to compete for Ole Miss. I don't think you could compete at Mississippi State for their COD team until the next year. And I think they need to realize that college students do transfer and things do happen.
Yeah.
You know, people go to Ole Miss, they pay that 1 year out of state. They be like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot, bro.
I don't know. I think like a governing body over collegiate esports is gonna cause like a lot of debate, like regardless. Because I know a lot of people just don't want any kind of regulation at all. They just want it like our third party leagues to keep doing what they do. And,
a governing body, that's gonna you're gonna create traction no matter what, you know.
I think it will help legitimize the esport or collegiate esports as a whole, like on a wider spectrum.
Definitely would do that.
Like I said, I think there's definitely pros and cons to each, and I think like NACE definitely needs to like get more like involved with the students and learn what the students want in terms of like incentives. Because honestly, like I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of these esports directors that universities are hiring aren't really like in touch with what's happening. I think like if you want to find out what people want, like you need to talk to the students that are actually playing in these leagues and like have dedicated their time like to their esports organizations.
Talk to the organizations themselves. Those are the people that put the work in already.
Right.
They're the people they're the reason we're on the map now.
Yeah.
Talk to those people and you hear what they need you to do, and if you can try to compromise and get to that point, I can find some type of equal ground.
Right.
Sorry, go for it.
I'm 100%. I'm down for a governing over the collegiate esports. I just think it needs to be under the right condition.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, that won't do anything but help esports by assigning it to a bigger name. Right now, it's like almost every man for himself right now.
Yeah. What were you about to say, Jay, bro?
I can't even remember what I was going to say at this point. I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
It's all good.
I think in the coming months.
I know what I was going to say. No, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It just came back. So I've had this conversation with some other people about like coaches and like who they're hiring as like esports directors. And like the conclusion we always come to is what defines someone as an expert in that area. And I think a lot of the times they like, just because someone has like, oh, you know, I was in the esports club for a year, great, you're hired, you know, you have that experience.
Yeah.
I don't think that cuts it. I don't think like just because you're in like a club for a year, I don't think that really is a good indicator whether or not you know esports, right? Like I'm not saying that doesn't get you some experience, but you know, if somebody's like only in the club and doesn't really like participate that much and they're just kind of like there, like that's not, in my opinion, a lot of experience.
Yeah, but I think that falls back on not having the name, like the governor over there. Because there's a lot of people that go to school that I would love to out of college find a job in esports, like work for an esports org. I think that'd be really dope. But like, and if you want to do it in collegiate esports, like you really wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the biggest thing with like I think it's okay to hire people like that, but I think where a lot of the employees that they hire like that go wrong is they don't know how to have humility and say like, okay, I don't know what to do in this situation. So students that actually play the games and that actually compete and talk to other students that are involved in esports, what do you want? What do you need? What would benefit our org the most? Instead of just like taking it upon themselves to make decisions that might be out of touch per se. Because
Agreed.
I think a lot of it's easy to say like you game and like, yeah, I play video games so I can run an esports org. It's completely different, and like there's so many different facets that go along with that I think like I said, I think humility is very important when like if you're hired for a position like that. You need to be able to have transparency with the kids that you're working with, and really be able to listen to them and be able to fulfill like what they need and just have an open ear basically.
Yeah, training in a new job. If you don't know, don't guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you described it perfectly though. Like, I think people are more afraid to say they don't know than they are to like look like an idiot and screw it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I know so many people that would rather just like, you know, I used to say this a lot, fake it till you make it, right? But I came to the realization that faking it can only get you so far, and you'll get to the point where you actually end up jeopardizing, like a person or a company or, whatever, because you legitimately didn't know and you were too dumb to go and ask somebody.
Yeah,
right.
And that answer you could have got that answer the whole time. On your damn high horse.
Yeah. Well, that'll be an interesting topic to go along with the next couple months. I think they definitely have a long road ahead of them if they want people to really buy into it and agree to sign with them. So it'll be interesting. Anybody from NACE, if you're listening to this, please listen to the players. That's all I ask.
Yeah, and if you're listening from NACE, like I'm not trying to just like criticize without any like constructive feedback. What I'm just trying to say is that there's a lot of things that like probably need a lot of addressing coming into the next the next year as college esports continues to blow up. And like Sergio said, listen to the players, listen to the feedback from people. Don't just unilaterally make decisions and expect not to be some sort of feedback.
Right.
Talk to the veterans, bro. You listen to what people that are already laid down for you to get to this point. For you to even come out and say you want to do something like this, you have to talk to the people that's already laid the groundwork, and everything will be all right after that.
All right, on to our favorite part of the show, the Q&A session. First question comes from Black_Hawk TV. I guess this question is for me and Justin. What are you most looking forward to this next year of Ole Miss Esports? So I'm really looking forward to the Egg Bowl. I think last year, like, it was so much fun, and I think it was such a fun event. I had a really good time competing. Of course, I would have liked us to actually win, and I think this year we can actually do that. So I'm really excited for the Egg Bowl. I'm really excited for another year in the CCL. I think we're gonna continue to be a top team. And then I'm also really excited for like the social aspect. Like, I have a lot of things that I'm working with the head of community right now to try to implement, such as like watch parties and stuff like that, just for our games. Make sure we're out here like supporting our teams. As a head of competitive, I'm really trying to push for like player incentives and making sure our players, like, because we can't offer them scholarships and stuff just yet. So I think it's really important for me to be able to make them feel like they have a reason to compete, and besides just being able to represent their school. So I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for all the content that we have coming out that I can't talk about. But yeah, I'm excited for content and player incentive probably. I think it's going to be a really, really good year in terms of those two things.
I don't know. I think this year has just been I don't know. I feel like this year's going to be a really, really good year. Period. So I'm excited to all the camaraderie, like you said, the social aspect. I really plan on getting way, like 10,000% way more involved in this than I ever been. I got a lot of projects and stuff I plan on doing this year, but I'm looking forward to the traveling and just to getting to know my teammates better, like because I haven't played a sport in like so long. Like, I played baseball in high school and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that team feeling, man. That's a really good feeling to have. So I'm looking forward to that for sure this year.
Brennan had another question. I guess it's for me. Are you going to be the star player of the CCL this year? I don't think so, and honestly, like, that's not something that I just like strive for. Like, even in season 0, that's not something that I just like really strive to do. I've always like cared more about being a player that like people are like, yo, like, how is this dude still finding a way to win? Like, seems like every year he always finds a way to like be at the top level. And I think, like, even if people don't recognize me as like an individual, like, I didn't really get recognized as much as an individual player this year, but my team still played like really well, and we still like won and did a lot better than people expected us to. And so, like, I just think that is always something that I want to strive to do versus being the star player. It's just like being that player that people respect in terms of like being able to make it far no matter what your team is. Next question, Marco asks, August 1st, thoughts, how small or big do you think it may be, as it's only the first date of what may be a very long and filled timeline? So for people listening to Apple Podcasts, Marco is the producer of the CCL. Really upped the production game this year and absolutely killed it. and he
True.
put out a very like cryptic tweet that had like an execution timeline, and it had August 1st, and it said announce, and then it cuts off right there. So of course most of us thought immediately like this has something to do with the College COD League. They're gonna announce something on the 1st, which is also the day for the Modern Warfare multiplayer reveal. So J Pro isn't gonna say much because he's on staff. But I, on the other hand, I don't know what it could be. I don't think it would be the format per se just yet, just because we're so far off from season 2. I think maybe like a tournament or something. I think a tournament probably. A tournament or like an early like 2K or something like that, I think is probably what's gonna be, or even a throwback tournament. Maybe a throwback tournament could definitely be it, but I don't think it'll be anything too huge yet. I think all the big announcements are gonna come closer to when the league season's about to start. But either way, I think I'm pretty excited for it. I think next Thursday is gonna be a big day.
This year's gonna be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I can neither confirm or deny anything.
Yeah, we know. J Pro's a op. Next question from Tooney. Looking at players from the CCL, who do you think will transition the best to a classic COD? Who do you think will struggle the most without advanced movement?
So Pony's gonna struggle the most.
Oh yikes! no
Pony.
But I think so. Based on like the players that I've talked to, the Florida State guys complain the most about like the advanced movement of Black Ops 4. So I think if they can back it up as much as they talk, I think Florida State should be a top team because
nasty.
apparently they all enjoy the slower CODs. So I think they should be really good. You can't ever doubt Advisor, especially there's a lot of head glitches in the game. So
that dude is actually turret.
You definitely can't.
He doesn't move.
Can't sleep on OSU. Those are really just. Humber, of course, is always going to be good. I haven't really seen them play any like classic CODs. I've only seen them in advanced movement games, but I think they'll be good regardless, just because of their chemistry and they have that confidence coming out of season 1. But I definitely think OSU and FSU, but FSU for sure. I think it should be a top 2 team if they talk, if they can play as good as they talk about playing in classic CODs.
I mean, they had a really good season this last season, so
right, exactly. And they complained about the game the entire season, so if they actually like this game in a slower pace, then they should be really nasty.
Yeah.
Who are the most? Matt Honcho asks, who are the most overrated and underrated players in the CCL by position? So I'm probably just gonna get my overrated and underrated SOG players, since that's what I play. Underrated SOG. I'm gonna say dang, dude, underrated SOG. I would probably say T-Sickle. I think a lot of people didn't give T-Sickle his just due just because he didn't have like the flashy stats towards the end of the season.
He had to play with the West, of course not.
Yeah, of course. But he's such like a selfless player, and like I played with Ty before, and he's really good at communicating. He loses full sometimes, but it's never anything that just like completely ruins your mood. So I think he's a really good teammate, and I think people really slept on him towards the end of the season just because OSU didn't really do too well during playoffs. But I definitely think he's the most underrated. Overrated, by the way, I'm only giving players that have actually competed in a season. I'm not counting all you other weirdos that play 10s against Jimmy Bob and think you're hot stuff. Overrated. I'm about to step on somebody's heels. I'm trying to think. Overrated SOG player. Probably Fnatic, bro. I think people think Fnatic is way better than he actually is, dude. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I've never seen it. Like anytime I play Fnatic, it's just like I never see what people, because he's in that inner circle of like the people, the top tier players in the CCL or whatever. That people always play with, and I don't see it. Like I don't think he's a bad player. Don't get me wrong, but but the pedestal people put him on, I don't see it at all. What about GJ Pro? Underrated, overrated?
Overrated.
What position? What position? Well, you could just do overall. Like, who do you think is most overrated?
Yeah, Marco, overrated staff player. I can't believe it. That man thinks he can snipe. No, I'm just kidding. I know Marco's gonna listen to this and he's gonna DM me about not being overrated, or he'll challenge me to like a 1v1, and then I'll smoke him. But I actually don't think there's like that many overrated players in the CCL. I think most of the players that are good are like actually good, and they talk their trash. I don't think there's really anybody in the CCL that like. Actually, never mind. I take it back. There's one person that like overly talks trash and is just not that great. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna call it Lion for a second. Like Lion talks so much, but then just like immediately doesn't play well. And I mean, yeah. So sorry, Lion. Just because you talk too much trash and you'll back it up, that's gonna be my pick. Underrated player. So this isn't just because I'm on the podcast, but Sergio, I think you were an underrated player this season. And here's why. You had to like stand behind the limelight of the Laggy twins.
Yeah.
Deal with Polar and Slaggy, and like you didn't even play like you didn't have the best KD in your team, but like when you're dealing with Slaggy and Poner who are just frying everybody out of their minds. Yeah. Sam would have some good series. Armstrong's have some good series, and like I think you were like probably one of the more consistent players throughout the CCL.
Yeah, and that's the people like. I played bad. The only series I remember ever playing like terrible, it was one map. It was that remember that Hacienda? It was against FSU, I think, where I started like really, really bad. I couldn't get anything going at all. It was like a Hacienda hardpoint or something. But that's like the only map I remember just playing really bad. But other than that, like even in finals, I was frying. I was frying.
I remember you DMing me after a map ended, and you're like, "Bro, I just went on a 14 spree on Seaside, and you didn't even show me on Codcaster." And I was like,
"Oh yeah, that was a Seaside. We lost to Humber Grand Finals. I went on like a 14 spree, and you just didn't watch it." I was like, "Okay, J Pro, it's fine."
Dude, I literally didn't catch it, but yeah, it's not because on the podcast, but I genuinely think you were an underrated player. And then if I had to pick like a second underrated player, shoot, trying to think of good teams that had like a player that was underrated.
I still think people don't respect Adam as much as they should.
100% not, even though he won best AR in the league.
Yeah, I still think Adam's just something. I would say, well, I guess it's just because I play with him all the time, but Armstrong is really slept on too. I feel like because, like I said, same thing with him. Like he was always under like the Lackey brother like shadow, but like. When I talked about this like in the lost episode, but how he was like always in the right positions. I never once was like, Ryan, like what are you doing on the map right now? Like he was always where he needed to be and like was willing to sacrifice his stats to put the team in a better position. I definitely think people give him respect, but I don't know if people respect him as an AR player, like as a top tier AR player as much as they should.
I think I picked my next underrated player.
Who?
I'm gonna go with Vortex. I like Vortex. Vortex is good, but like the Butler squad was like so throughout the year. Like they made it to playoffs, and they took a map off of y'all. I'm pretty sure that round one you guys played Butler and it was a 3-1. But Jack's legitimately nasty at Call of Duty. Like World War II, he was nasty. Black Ops 4, he's nasty. And I just think he doesn't have like the necessary pieces around him to like really thrive.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying they're bad by any means, but Jack is just so good at the game, and like if he's given the opportunity, I think he shines. Like if you put him on a Humber, that dude's frying.
Yeah,
like all the time.
I also feel like Jack is a player that like he's a day-to-day player. Like some days we'll play with Jack and he's like frying, and some days we'll play with Jack and he's like he can't go positive on map. But I definitely do think people, because like even when I was picking him in like the recent Armstrong 10s tournament that we had for the CCL, like. People were like, he picked Vortex like first round. I was like, dude, Jack is nasty. Like people were actually really asleep on Jack. So yeah, I can agree with that. Python B Raid, as champs are in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I want to hear your top 3 teams. All right, number 1. I think Gen G is gonna finally take it.
Bro, I want Gen G to win.
I think Gen G is placing first. 2, I'm gonna go with. I think 100 Thieves is going to be back on top next tournament. And then 3, I think I think Splice. I got faith in Temp, bro. I really want TBU to get that.
Dude, they were so bad.
They were
in
so
Miami,
bad,
so.
yeah. But they got a few weeks, bro.
So for me, okay. So one of these picks, I believe in them, but it also historically backs it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you win Pro League Season 2, you're getting top 2 at champs. Black Ops 3, NV won Stage 2 playoffs, they won champs. IW, Optic won Stage 2 playoffs, they won champs. World War II, TK won Stage 2 playoffs, they get second at champs.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna get top 2. For me, so I think E United, I think E United will. United 100 T my top 2. I don't know exactly what order. So here's what I know. I know 100 T apparently like took some days off after they won Anaheim. Like they won the back-to-back. Apparently, according to somebody who I'm not gonna name, like they just didn't go as hard as they could have. And then when they realized they like needed to try to stay in that tournament, that game 5 they had against, I believe it was Genji, like they just like couldn't turn out because it was too late. Like, do you know how like, oh, you think we're just gonna breeze past this team and then we'll get to this next one? Like they didn't wake up in time, and that's why that's essentially what I think happened, is like they just didn't wake up early enough in the tournament to make a run.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the third team, so you're gonna call me up, but I know Optic look really bad, like
they
really bad
terrible,
at Miami.
bro.
So here's what I think's gonna happen. They're gonna go back to the drawing board.
Terrible.
You got what, 6 rings on that team. Karma's got 3, Crim's got 2, Scump's got 1. And Dashy's been nasty all year. TJ's been grinding every day. I think at some point, like this roster is just gonna like they clicked, at Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think at some point, right? And I think Champs will have to be the tournament that it'll click, because they go third, and then they get like T8, I think at Miami. I think I think they'll just, something about it will click. Scump had a really good event. In comparison, Dashy's always going to be playing good. If we can get, all those players online at the same time, I think they're a championship contending team. But if like they come out of the gate slow, they're getting like T24.
Yeah, if they play how they did in Miami, Optic is not looking too good at all.
I got Genji, 100 Thieves, and EU.
EU.
Yeah.
I don't see EU striking lightning in the same place twice. Like I really love the guys on EU United. I just can't see them winning back-to-back events. I think like Preston had a really, really good event. And I don't think you get that caliber in event out of him 2 events in a row. I don't know. I think they'll do well, but I definitely don't think they're making it or winning another chip.
I think they can. I think their SOG presence was insane, and like I don't know another, like I think the one thing this event showed is just how good the SOG actually is. Like Dylan fried on Rec, the Tiny Terrors on EU fried, and the teams that had like really, really good SOG players really shined at this tournament.
Yeah.
And the teams that didn't really show up that well, like Genji, nasty SOG duo. United, nasty SOG duo. Reciprocity, nasty SOG duo. Luminosity, John got way better with the SOG. Slack was already pretty good. Like the teams I believe that got T4, all of them had 2 like decent to really good SOG players, and that's kind of how I see it.
I really want Genji. I feel like Genji really gonna take off this next one, and it's gonna show out, because they've been playing really well, because they didn't play bad Anaheim. And they did good in Miami. I think they're gonna do. I think this is where they take it.
D Checo asks, an AM org reaches out to you guys after great placing in the CCO. Would you hear them out and consider or not mixing AM org with college esports? 100%. I'm not interested. Like if it comes down to my CCL team, it's almost esports. It will forever be almost esports. I have no interest in mixing the two at all. Like I just don't. I don't see the point in it. Like my school is offering like perks and stuff that like most AM orgs probably wouldn't even give me. So it's like I don't see the point in mixing the two. I think if I want to compete for an AM org, I can go and play in an over bracket or play in some other like AM league or something like that. But for the CCO, like it should be your collegiate esports organization, and that's it. J Pro asks, favorite CCL moment. I might have. Okay, I think I can think of 3. So of course I gotta put the GSU Ace on there.
4-piece.
Yeah, I gotta put I think us beating Emerald the way we did in playoffs, that's up there for sure. And then I think, oh man, the night. I think no. You know what? This encompasses like a series. Like every time I watched Rosemont and Liberty Red play each other, dude, it's that those are some of like the most evenly matched COD games I've ever seen in my entire life. Like those games were insane every single time they played. I think probably
100%.
watching those games is definitely in my top moments. I really enjoy those.
Justin?
I'm an Ole Miss fan, so definitely the win on the undefeated was lit. I don't really have anything else that was just like really huge.
What about your time on Ole Miss Blue? You didn't enjoy that?
Dude, Ole Miss Blue did not get started. I was so sad.
Feels bad.
But this year, we out here this year.
That's what you said last year.
Yeah, we did. I got a new squad this year, so it's gonna be different. I'm gonna have a new squad this year.
You and Swift?
Grind gonna be real this year. I'm telling you.
What about you, J Pro?
All right. Top 3 moments. So no particular order, just as they come to mind. So the first fight night was Shift and Benson. Getting like an actual CDL caster to come out and like support the CCL. Like I actually was in tears that night. I don't think I ever told anybody that, but I actually was like happy sad that night. You know what I mean? Like when you're like really happy, you're crying tears of joy. That's that night. That same experience happened again during the grand finals when it was like Shift Panda. Then like I was kind of on the desk as like a second analyst. That was super fun. And then my third favorite CCL moment was probably third favorite season. Honestly, it was probably that first day of playoffs when we did the play-in. Like I sat at my computer 8 hours, no stream issues, nothing of the sort. Everything just worked out. Got to watch some great matches be played. Got to sit, talk. Got to talk with friends. Got to watch friends play. It was just like a super humbling experience, to be honest, because like that feeling when you see something that you've worked, a long time on, like finally come to fruition, you kind of see its like true colors come out. Like it was kind of like that moment where I realized that like, holy crap, the CCL is like actually insane.
Yeah.
Because like we had like during playoffs, I think we like averaged like 240 viewers like consistently. Like I think the worst day we had like a 190 or something during a match, and I was like, okay. We got hosted by Clayster during playoffs, and like we skyrocketed to like almost 900 viewers at one point. Like we were like the third most watched COD channel, I think, at that time when we had that host. Like we were the third on the leaderboard.
Jeez.
It was a humbling experience because you see all the work pay off and everybody like come together for one final product. And I wish I could relive it, to be honest, but better things are yet to come. Oh, trust me, brother. Marco and I are in DMs literally like all the time. Like it'll be 2 a.m. He'll send me a DM. I'll respond when I wake up. Just back and forth, working on a bunch of projects. His cryptic tweet from today.
I saw that tweet. He replied to you like the person getting out of bed, going straight to the computer, going back to bed, and I was like, "Oh, Marco's in that. He's in his bag right now. He's in that mode."
Dude, he is like a particular reason he's in that mode right now. But there's so much being worked on right now behind the scenes that I would just like want to say. Like honestly, like I have a document open in front of me right now that I'm looking at for certain things, and I could spill the entire season, but I won't because I'm super excited to share it, but I can't because Mark would kill me.
Is there any timeline that we can have or that you can leak to the people as to when we can expect all these announcements?
Well, as you know, August 1st is technically a
big day.
I don't know if that's the day that's like super big. So here's what I'll tell you. August 5th, be looking out for something that day.
Okay.
And that's all I'm gonna say actually. August 5th. Look out for something that day.
Okay.
Assuming, yeah.
I'll take it. At Casey, wait, no, go ahead.
And there's like things that like aren't even on the timeline right now that are like being worked on that like I can't give you an estimate of when things are going to be happening. Just know that Marco and I's mission next season is to like high quality CCL content 5 out of the 7 days of the week. Everybody gets super hype. Everybody gets their time in the spotlight. So
Interesting.
And other things I can't mention.
At Casey of Spades asks, what are your opinions on the Alinity Divine situation with her throwing her cat Milo? And what if she should be punished for this? So when I first saw the video, my first reaction was, what in the actual world is this lady doing? Like, she just literally threw her cat over her shoulder and stuff like that. But after that, I saw, of course, Keemstar got involved. I'm not a fan of Keemstar at all. Literally hate the guy, like, in every fiber of my being. I think she should be punished for it. But at the same time, like, she made a video on the incident, and like she put out a series of tweets explaining like her side of the situation, and she's getting like some animal organization to come and like
PETA?
Was it? I don't think it was PETA. It was PETA?
Oh, PETA tweeted out about it.
Oh, like, okay. No, I think it's something. I think it's more like local to whatever area she's in. But she's getting them to come out and like check on all her animals and like get a report like from them directly, letting everybody know that her animals are fine and that she, is treating them well. But I think the biggest thing for me, like, that came out of this, and I see this so often, and I've talked to Justin about this even like with the Tfue situation where he said the raccoon thing, and it's like you have to understand that when you have a platform like that, there's certain things that you can't do or say. And like, if you have that much of a following, you need to realize, okay, and I don't think that's such a hard thing, and I don't know why a lot of Twitch streamers don't get that. It's like you have all these eyes on you, so don't do problematic stuff. Like, it's not. I feel like it's something that's not like that hard to get. Now if her cat, if she really is out here mistreating her animals, then yeah, I think she should be punished for it. But if it's like she says, and it's not bad, and she treats her animals with respect, and the cat wasn't harmed in the throwing of of the cat over her shoulder or whatever, then it is what it is. But I do think we need to start holding like content creators more accountable, and I think content creators with big audiences need to realize there's certain stuff that you can't do when you have all those eyes on you.
I think as the years go by, I actually hate everything. Like, I think common sense for people just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I've been telling everybody I talk to, I was like, bro, when I have kids, I literally don't care if my kids grow up to be. I do care, but like, if they are murderers, thugs, thieves, I don't care. Like, as long as they have common sense. Like, some people just don't have common sense. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. You have all these people watching you. Why would you? So stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that's so. Because if you doing that, you on camera, you show it out, but right? Like, not expect when you get backlash. Where they come from? Like,
yeah.
Stop acting so stupid. What is wrong with people?
Yeah.
So as an owner of 2 small fur babies, I like. So here's my situation on it, right? Cats, they jump everywhere. They're jumping from high places all the time. Like, I understand, like, she's like, oh, cats, they always land on their feet or whatever. They're fine. They jump from high places. But at the same time, like, just throwing them over your head, the cat probably, like, wasn't seriously hurt at all. But at the end of the day, it's just, like, the optics of it, right? So one of the things that I stress, and you already kind of talked about it, like, content creators need to recognize that, like, with a platform, there's certain things they can't do. It's the fact that if you do it on stream, it means you're more likely comfortable to do it when you're not streaming. And it's that kind of bothers me, that just willingly throwing your cat over your head. Like, if you took your cat, right, and you turn and then you dropped him like 1.5 feet above the ground, it's whatever, it's a cat. Like, they jump like that all the time. But the fact it happened on stream just kind of shows that this probably has happened more times than just the one time that was caught on stream. And so
and that's why I'm sorry.
No, you can go for it, Justin.
And that's why I said, bro, clout is a dangerous drug. Like, it's ridiculous. People do anything, and it's so stupid. But like, and then like, and what J Bro just said, like, it's for me, I was like, I'm pretty sure the cat's fine. Like, I'm like 89% sure the cat's okay, because cats drop from literally the fucking roof and just keep walking like nothing happened. But like, it's the optics of it. Like, of course, you're gonna have those people that's gonna create. You know what you're. Any little thing that somebody does, even if it's not a big thing to you, it's gonna create a big ass uproar. You're streaming. You know what platform you're on, so why do things so stupid anyways? Doesn't make sense to me. Like I don't know. It's just and I don't want to give it any more attention, but if the cat's fine, then
I just really don't like. And that's part of the reason I don't really like Keemstar. I feel like he's so excessive with his like mob mentality, where like he'll tweet something out and get his like 13-year-old followers to go and like harass the person about the situation, and like the same people he's trying to like say need to be punished and like you need to cancel this person or whatever. It's like you're literally giving that person like more traction on their social media and more traction in their stream. Like her stream numbers have literally went up since the incident happened. So it's like,
yeah, that's all people do. Oh, let me go see what they're
right. And so like I don't know. I don't like the mob mentality that people have when it comes to that kind of stuff.
So just like J Bro, it's like it just the opposite. Because if she could do it on stream, it's no telling what she probably do off stream.
Right.
That's how I feel about when people say like they ain't on stream. They be like, oh, like with like, oh my god. PewDiePie said it like he said it like so smoothly. Like I was like, you know, he say it all the time.
Yeah, that's kind of where the example comes from, that PewDiePie situation. Last thing I'll say on this topic, there's that video of her like drinking some vodka and then spitting some of the vodka into her cat's mouth.
Yeah.
That's just like downright dangerous and not good for the cat in general. Like if this is like a one-time situation, right? If like she threw the cat over her head, be like, okay, you know, she shouldn't do that, but the cat's probably fine. But the fact that there's like kind of a paper trail of things happening to the cat, that kind of bothers me a little more than you know.
Right.
Man, I said all that's just for attention, bro. People just chasing attention. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's actually getting motherfuckers killed. Like, you gotta think about how crazy this shit. We actually had people chewing Tide Pods at point. Like, actually people doing this stupid shit. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
100%. Casey's next question: what are some things that you do in the South/Midwest that would probably get you in a lot of trouble in a more city-like environment? Probably speeding, bro.
Oh yeah.
Dude, bro, like
you can't speed cities, bro. You're going 30 and a 60.
Yeah, I be hitting the dash.
Like, you can't even do it in a bigger city because you're gonna be in traffic.
Well, you seen Ricky Skage driving in California?
That man was really running. His car, not him.
Yeah,
J-Bro was actually terrified.
I was holding on to like the handlebar above the seat because like that man was taking corners at like 40, and I was like, Ricky, you need to relax. Like,
Ricky was in
I'm trying to live here.
Dude, bro, no. Me and Ricky went to the gas station. Ricky literally drifted through the street. Like, I was like,
my.
What did you do with it? Like, we actually were drifting. I was like, I can't. This man. I'm like, nah.
But I think that's like my biggest one. Probably speeding because I don't know. I speed a lot.
I like 5 over or like more than 10 over, Serge. Or don't say on the grounds of may incriminate you.
Sometimes over 10. If I'm running a little late to work, your boy be hitting the digital dash. I ain't gonna play with you, bro.
Going 60 and a 40, that type of thing.
Driven the campus. Literally, our campus was supposed to be like an hour and 15 minutes. I've gotten there in like 47.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's something else.
I honestly can't think of anything in the Midwest that I do that would probably be bad. Actually, I take it back. Drive a pickup that is terrible for emissions. That's what I do. Because like cities have like really high emission standards. You have to get all these emissions testings.
Yeah.
Nah, dude. South Dakota, everybody's just driving like big pickup trucks that are probably really bad for the environment, but whatever.
Oh, how can we forget this one? Calling people the N-word.
Yeah, that probably.
That
so crazy.
That doesn't happen here. Well,
Yeah.
if it does, I don't see it. That's because I think South Dakota is like 92% white. So.
J-Pro, I hope you don't see it. Somebody gonna come up to you, call you the N-word, bro.
I feel like, what are you doing?
Wait, what?
Somebody in South Dakota called me the N-word.
Jaden A. Shaw asked, he wants us to talk about the ASAP Rocky situation. So do y'all know about the ASAP Rocky?
Yeah, being imprisoned by Sweden for assault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree why he did it. If the reason is true why he did it,
Mm-hmm.
you should never put your hands on a female. But I hate that he's in like they say he's in like terrible prisons.
Yeah.
ASAP himself said that he was fine. Like I'm pretty sure he had a statement. He's like, "No, I'm good."
Well, like I think the biggest thing to get out of this is like different countries have different standards, and I feel like when these artists go to these different countries, you need to be aware of those like cultural changes and realize that like self-defense isn't like doesn't hold the same weight as it does in the United States, and like and you need to understand like as a black rapper, like you already like have attention being drawn towards you, especially one of like ASAP Rocky's caliber. He's like huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people need to be more aware of that, the status that they do have. So it's sort of like how we talked about the content creators earlier. Like it's not fair per se, I guess, but like you have to be more aware and you have to hold yourself more accountable when you have that platform. And I think it is a shame that he's locked up for what he did, and I hope he does get freed soon. Because honestly, he's been in there a lot longer than I thought he would be. Like when I first heard about it,
I really thought this would have blown over by now.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be out like maybe a week tops. And he's still in there.
That's something you gotta recognize too. America's not like the best friend of a lot of countries.
Yeah.
So like you gotta recognize that other countries be quick to make an example.
Aside from like the whole situation, how wild is it? Like, what simulation am I living in where Kanye West and Kim Kardashian call the president up on speed dial to tell him to ASAP Rocky out of a prison in Sweden? But like that whole chain of events is just wild.
But you know why Trump jumped on that, bro? Because he gonna say, "I freed ASAP Rocky." Look at all my African American brothers and sisters. They love me.
I'm either way. I just found it really funny that like that's the chain of events that kind of like led up to it becoming like a really big issue.
Yeah.
That
You're not wrong, bro.
He been off my boat. I kicked him a while ago. I gave him 3 strikes and he beat all 3 real quick. He been off my boat.
Oh my god.
Not a black man.
That's funny.
At Omi-san says, do you think there's a significant difference in skill between the CCL players versus the rest of the competitors? It seems like players that were already competing outside of the CCL changed the league due to being a key player on their team. I do think some of the players that come from outside are a little better, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think now people are starting to like see the CCL as a viable place to display their skill, and so I think like people that at first for like season 0, for example, were like, I don't want to waste my time on this, came back in season 1 and were like, yo, like this actually looks fun, this like good competition, so let me get involved with this community and like actually enjoy it.
It's a good place to, in my opinion, to develop skills, but it's also an opportunity to like make other friends in the community. Because the one thing I think that's like weird about COD in comparison to a lot of other communities is like how close like the community is. Like even if it doesn't seem like it, there's always like some sort of like gel between the community, and a lot of other esports I've seen like just don't really have that, regardless of whether it's like a gel together good or bad. But the CCL is just an opportunity to build your skills, showcase, and then like play tens with everybody and make some friends.
Right.
Competition, regardless, is always like an increase in competition. Something like a better player entering the scene is always going to be good.
Yeah.
Competitive nature, you want to play people better than you. Of course, it's the only way you really gonna get better at and practicing.
Yeah.
You dominating pubs all day is not gonna get you nowhere.
Yeah, and I think it's like we see like players from the CCL playing with like very notable names in the community, like Stevie playing with Mochilla at Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it that played with Alien Company at Toronto XP? I can't remember.
GoTunes.
As GoTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then especially like the Davenport kids, we talked about them a couple weeks ago. But like at the MES LAN that just recently happened, like 2 of them, like I think it was Flanked and Subzo got 4th, and then Gecko, who Davenport actually just announced they signed today, got 2nd at MES. So I think like there's more, like I think what we're seeing is there's like players that are going to be in the CCR and the CCL, making waves in like the AM scene.
Yeah. Ashmore _ Bradley asks with the well, it's a long question. What is your plan to show Ole Miss as a competitive esports team and possibly make it to where these young people will choose Ole Miss as their college just for the esports? I think so in the southeast, and is South Dakota in the southeast, or am I stupid? Do you consider yourself the southeastern school, J Pro, or you should just eastern?
Repeat what you just said.
What region do you consider South Dakota in?
The Midwest, technically. Midwest? Yeah, it's. I would say no. I would say we're Midwest.
Okay. Well, like
I'd say Midwest. That's what I'd say.
I guess like so I feel like it's easier for Ole Miss, for our esports organization to get a lot of traction just because like in the southeast, like it's sort of barren. Like the besides maybe like LSU, like literally LSU, and like I guess maybe Mississippi State, but like there's no other collegiate esports organization in the southeast that's making waves like we are, and that's like getting a backing from their school like we are right now. And so I feel like that in itself generates a lot of positive like feedback from other people. And I think like the biggest thing we can do to get kids to want to come here just for the esports is just to really like get involved within the community. Like just the amount of kids that I've had come to like our events, the kids coming to the Egg Bowl that like literally just ask to small stuff like taking pictures with kids that come to your events and like come to watch you play can go a long way, because that's stuff that they remember. That's stuff that they're gonna be like, yo, like I want to be like this person when I get older. I want to compete at Ole Miss. I want to compete at the Egg Bowl just like they did. And then I guess like for incoming like high school people, I think the biggest thing would probably just be like what I'm working on this year with just incentives and making sure that our varsity players are receiving benefits that people are interested in, and giving them a reason to want to showcase their talents under Ole Miss. Next question at Hokage _ Cod. Based off the results of season 1, what teams do you think will stay at the top and what teams will be going to the bottom?
Humber stays at the top. OSU stays at the top. Ole Miss stays at the top.
I'm gonna keep it 100. No disrespect to my boy Tooney, but I don't know if Toronto's gonna be at the top this year.
Well, they're losing their hard carries. Millsy won't be there. Hokage won't be there.
They still have Lycan, who's really good. Lycan's really good.
Doesn't Lycan go to Lambton? I thought he went to Lambton.
Oh, that's tough. I thought he went to Toronto, but maybe he
I think he goes to Lambton. I think.
Yikes! Yeah, I don't know what their roster situation is right now.
Yeah, Lambton squad's gonna be nasty.
Yeah, they might be pretty good, but based on like the Toronto roster that I'm seeing. But then, like I said, I don't know what their roster situation is. I love Toonie to death, but I don't know about Toronto next year. I think FSU stays at the top.
Toronto taking a lot of L's.
I think any team with that core 3 of Advisor, Tisicle, and West is going to be a team that's going to be a force to reckon with regardless. I'm trying to think of another team that I think will go to the bottom. I think Liberty is gonna stay towards the bottom.
Ooh, South Carolina.
You think South? Wait, who are they
losing? I think they're
at
the bottom.
Who are they losing?
I don't think they're losing anybody, but I think they're
the level of competition is gonna go up.
Well, I think that, and I think with the lack of advanced movement, I haven't seen any of them play like a boots game. Like I think I saw one of them play like World War II AIDS once, and they didn't play that well. So
yeah.
I don't know. I just to me when I watch South Carolina play, like they're always just aggressively hitting things.
Yeah.
And so I guess in a game where you can't slide and where like shot punching isn't as prevalent, assuming shot punching is prevalent in that game, South Carolina might be the pick.
It could be. Who else? I think GCU falls off. I think a team that people are really sleeping on. I think are making like some low key moves. I think Rutgers. I think Rutgers is gonna have a pretty decent roster this year. Rutgers is a school that's like their esports org is like backs them like a good little bit.
Mhm.
So I think they're definitely gonna help them seek out better players. I think Lou is working closer with their esports organization to ensure that they have a better team. So I'm definitely having them on the lookout. But yeah, I would say Ohio State, Florida State, and us are probably gonna stay at the top. If I had to see somebody really fall off, probably be Liberty, and then Toronto. I think are gonna might not do as good. I think that's all the questions, boys. I think that's gonna do it for us today. We've been going for a good little bit. We appreciate you guys listening to us. As always, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure that you leave us a rating and a review, share it with your friends. We would greatly appreciate it. Shout out to all the people that leave us questions every week. We really enjoy it. Some of my, like I said, always say it's literally my favorite part of the podcast. People watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, as well as follow my co-host on Twitter and all their other socials. And this has been the Hell Not Hangout episode 5, and we appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next week. Peace.